So hello, my name is Tanisha Tucker, and I'm here with some family members at Mission Gardens in Tucson, Arizona. We are here to show and discuss some traditional foods that we have offered here to us in the desert. One of the things that we are very grateful for is the amount of things that grow here. Even though it is a desert environment, we have been able to find a lot of food that we can pick, harvest, and also use throughout the year. The one thing that we do focus on during picking some of these foods is the appreciation, the songs that we have to sing for them. We also have ceremonies that go along with some of these foods. It's very important to us in the desert here to show that appreciation because it is so rare to find these foods anywhere else. We've learned throughout the years how to sustain and how to also feed ourselves and our families with these foods. A lot of them are cactus. They have thorns. We've learned how to clean a lot of these foods so that they can be prepared and dried and saved for long periods of time. One of the foods that I'm showing today is tepary beans. This is a bean that is indigenous to the Southwest. This is a drought-tolerant bean. It has 3 different varieties of them. This is the black variety. There's white and brown that grow here in the Southwest. These beans are very high in protein, a lot of soluble fiber in them. We plant them during the harvesting cycle, and it keeps the other plants growing throughout the year. So we have also the cholla buds, another thing that we use. This is another desert food. We like to serve them all together along with the saguaro syrup and, prickly pears. All different types of saguaros or cactuses are used in our dishes. The dish that I prepared is the tepary beans with short ribs. This was a meal that we had a lot during ceremonies. We also had them, during any time when we're, having family gatherings. This spreads it, it feeds a large crowd. So it's good to have that with it. These beans, of course, just like any bean, you can prepare them with meat, without meat. The one I chose to do today was with the short ribs. I've had them just plain or with cholla buds and also with, celery, onions, and garlic. Those are very good too. So this particular recipe I use, I love to soak beans just because it helps open those beans up. This bean I let soak for 3 hours. I added it in with some roasted short ribs, which I roasted those for about an hour, and it just helps to bring some of the fat off and it makes the meat nice and it gives it a good flavor. So I use that I put the soaked beans as well as the short ribs in a crock pot or in a pot on the stove overnight on a very low setting and let that cook. And then in the morning time, it's ready to serve. You can also, after you've served it, you can use that. You can freeze it later and it can be used at another date too. So I've prepared that for us today to go with the meal that we were showing.
Thank you, Tanisha.
You're welcome.
Hi, good morning. My name is Traci Hughes. Happy to be here today to present these traditional foods. What I've prepared today is the cholla buds, pickled cholla buds, and just a little bit about the cholla buds. We typically harvest them in April and sometimes maybe into early May. And we want to get them right before they flower. Sometimes we get them when they're flowered too, but right before they flower, and then we hang on to them. We can sometimes cook them fresh or let them dry. And, that is one traditional way of taking care of our foods for long periods of time is letting them dry. Just like we can hang on to the tepperies too when they're dry, and then all we need to do is add a little bit of water and those flavors come out, they come back alive. And what's interesting about collecting cactus foods is that it's actually a lot easier to clean off the needles if you're taught properly than you would think. The way I was taught is you get a branch of the creosote, we call it shogi, and you get that shogi branch and you wipe off the the cholla buds either before you pick them or sometimes after you pick them. But the stickiness of the creosote will help remove all of the small needles. And then, you know, sometimes we'll sit and we'll take off the needles individually. And, you know, that's our way of quieting our minds and gathering together, or, you know, however we like to take care of our cholla buds. So when we gather them, we really like to do it in community and go out together. And it's a really nice time, you know, just like the saguaro harvest, you know, we get together and we do these things together. And, you know, we're always in gratitude to be able to be remembering these foods and relearning these foods. You know, they've been sustaining the people from this area for thousands of years, you know, as long as these plants have been here. So like I said, I prepared the cholla buds, pickled cholla buds today. And, you know, a lot of times what we try to do is use what we have, you know. And when I was told that when you make pickled, you just use your pickle juice you already have. So that's what I did today. And you can tell they're a little bit plumped up. And they're really tasty. You know, one thing about cholla buds is that they're really high in calcium. And so, you know, that means they're good for your bones, good for your heart, good for your mind, you know, good for your body to restore itself. And so, you know, when we think about those things, we understand that, you know, the cactus foods were very nutrient dense and really help sustain us, you know. Out here in the Southwest, we're strong people, and I can see why, you know, when I look around at the foods we had. So that's the cholla buds for you, to the ciolim. The harvesting time is April, and so we'll be back out there next year. Every year we get out there. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Maria Francisco, and part of this meal, I'm going to talk about yeast bread. Yeast bread is something that we've been making for a long time, and long ago, we used to have our yeast bread put in ovens. We had outside adobe-made ovens, and they would put the bread and make it in there. And it's usually good, and it's served with some meals. And since we're having stew today, bread is always good with stew. So this bread is made out of flour and dry milk and some lard, and you knead it, and it has and yeast, and it has to sit for, you know, a long time. So it's not a fast process when making this bread. It takes several hours to do so. So traditionally, bread was something that we would share amongst our families and amongst the people. And you know, traditionally, yeast bread is handed down from generation to generation. Grandparents and moms and aunts, you know, they teach their children how to make yeast bread, and that's how this bread for our tradition has continued on, and just learning from family members. We also have here some sitot, which is baitach, made from the baitach, which we harvest from during the summer from the saguaro cactus fruit. So this is also a long process in itself. This is, we usually make it, we go out and have to harvest it, and then we cook it, and this is all natural. It's all natural, no sugar added, and it's made over the stove. It's usually made outside in the mesquite wood. So it has that real mesquite taste to it, which is really good. And this is done during the summer, and it's also a tradition as families go out and they harvest the fruit, as well as having camps. There's camps out there that we harvest fruit, and that's part of our family. This is a tradition of our family, a very strong tradition that we've been carrying on, and we hope to carry on for the future. We also have here some prickly pear jelly. This is also a summer harvest that traditionally that we do, and it is also there is some sugar added into this because it has a tart taste, so it doesn't make its own sugar. But this is also traditional. A lot of our the O'odham people, they'll pick this as well and make jam out of it. They also make like a drink, and I know that some people they use it. They also use it in their sauces. It can be used in sauce. So so we have this. This is a good dessert to have with your bread after you have your meal. It's something you can put on your bread, or you can put it on the syrup can be also put on ice cream if you wanted to do an ice cream. But this is all traditional. This is something that we would probably have. This is a kind of meal we would have as a family. And these are the kind of foods that long ago, when we didn't have the modern foods that we have now, this is what our O'odham people would go out and harvest and pick. And this would be something that they would make for a meal for their family. And it goes a long way, and it feeds a lot of people. So this is pretty much our meal that we have for us. For a traditional O'odham meal that we wanted to share with you, and hopefully you're hungry and you enjoy.
In this desert, this is our meal, and we hope that you enjoy your meals in your garden. And this is not only food for us, but it is medicine.